So let's go ahead and get into that. Let's turn this down just a bit. This is going to be from Jaedong's perspective, so we're going to be able to see all the crazy Zerg stuff that comes in. It's going to be on Talcross. So Talcross is a little bit of a weird map. However, it is also, I would say that it is favorite overall for Zerg. There's lots of big open areas. It's difficult to really get out of your natural on Talcross as a Protoss player because the outside of it is very, very wide. It's very easy to get a good arc with Hydras and basically just camp your opponent forever. So that is something that is something to keep in mind in this matchup, whether or not Jaedong will try to contain his opponent early on or go for some sort of much late game strategy. What are these sounds? Are these like remastered sounds? Do they make different sounds? Or maybe I'm just hearing... Wait, is the Korean, like, over mine, does it have a different sound? Anyways, so... Sorry, I'm very, very confused. Anyhow, so this is a ZVP, so we are actually going to be seeing that overpool coming out from Jaedong, and I think that's a smart idea because when you consider that this is a bit more of an open map, this is a harder map for Protoss, you kind of expect to see some early pressure, maybe some early Zealot pressure, perhaps even a proxy. So you have to keep your eyes open, you have to make sure that you're not making too many mistakes early on. And I like the idea of just going for this overpool early on. Just allows Jaedong to go ahead and get safe while also having a very economic build as well. So far doing a really good job of just chunking down this probe. But so far Stork's probe micro has been pretty solid. But unfortunately not getting that block, that is a little bit painful for Stork. But first couple links are going to be coming out pretty soon, and then we'll see the probe cleared out and maybe a scout over here by the Protoss Natural. Looks like it is going to be that standard Forge Fast expand that we've come to expect in this matchup. And the Lings are going to be pushing this probe a little bit out. There is the Nexus Jaedong sees, so we're going to be going into a very standard game. Jaedong probably going to be taking a third base and a gas very soon. Looks like it's going to be that close by third base, which I like to see. It allows you to basically just defend this entire area with tons and tons of lurkers and hydras, and it just makes reinforcing really, really nicely. So I like going for that base early on. Faraway bases on Talcross don't make as much sense as they might on something like Circuit Breaker, where you can split the map very nicely. So we'll be seeing Jaedong go for the standard stuff. So far he's doing a pretty good job of killing off this probe. Probe down to one more hit, I believe, so it's very, very close to death. But Jaedong needs to make sure that he's still continuing to macro, make sure that he's continuing to make, continuing to get that gas, because that's going to be important. Wow, is this probe really alive? What? Okay, finally it goes down. That was actually insane. Stork's probe micro is still pretty top-notch, so that's really nice to see. We're going to be seeing the lair first coming out from Jaedong, no surprise there. Probably going to be going for the Spire early on to slow down the Corsair production and get some scouting on his opponent, so good stuff there as well. Another probe going to be coming in, trying to get some information, but Mineral walking straight in, really nicely done. No, we're not worried about potential problems with pathing or being blocked on the ramp. And Jaedong's just trying to clear this out, trying to get his main clear of information, so he can go ahead and put down that Spire pretty soon, or potentially put down the Hydralisk Den. He's actually going to go for the Hydralisk Den, so this looks to me a little bit like a Lurker contain, more so than a Hydralisk push. Maybe going for those fast Lurkers with a handful of Hydras just to push his opponent back. And like I said, this is a very good map for contains of the Protoss player. When you go for that fast Lurker, you basically prevent your opponent from getting out of their natural until they have a lot of storms or until they have Dragoons and the observers. If they don't really have those things, they can't really break out, and it becomes a bit of an issue. He's actually going Overlord speed very early, which is, I guess, actually to be expected. That isn't too uncommon. It's going to help him defend versus the Corsairs, considering that he's not going for those early Scourge. Having faster Overlord speed makes a lot of sense. But I wonder if that will transition into a drop. That's really what I'm curious. He's got a very nice vision around the map so far between Spreadlings and those Overlords. So I really like the play so far from Jaedong. Just getting a massive amount of information on the map, making a couple of Hydralisks that are going to go ahead and move out. Start potentially pushing back these Corsairs, maybe doing a contain. Looks like he is trying to hide the Hydralisk, so this definitely is a Lurker contain. This is a bit of a tricky build coming out from Jaedong, but the Hydralisks are going to get seen, so this is a bit annoying. This is going to force Stork to make a couple of cannons, which is going to be annoying. And in the meanwhile, these Corsairs have done a really good job of just scouting out random Overlords out across the map, seeing what's going on. And we'll probably be seeing some sort of interesting tech coming out soon. Sorry about the train in the background, that just happens. So +1 carapace will be coming in shortly. It looks like DTs are out, and Jaedong has spotted this, so he knows that the DTs are on the way. He can see it on the map right now. You can see the shimmer, and he's just going to try to block as much as possible until his Overlord gets there. Yeah, so chasing down this DT, very smart play from Jaedong. Very quick eyes from him to see that and make the proper adjustments to chase that down. Now he's going to be going ahead and pressuring the front. A little bit of missed micro there. That was a mistake. Ends up losing 2 Hydralisks for free, but now he's going to start sieging down this forge, and that's going to be very annoying. Back home, though, very annoying. Corsairs also trying to kill off these Overlords, and that is also just a pain in the ass to deal with. Eventually, he is going to be able to kill this forge, and that's really nicely done. And unfortunately, Stork losing some stuff for free there. Not really the best play right there. Maybe he was hoping to buy a little bit more time for reinforcements to come or something like that. But that forge is going to be going down. There is going to be no +1 for a little bit. And one DT does manage to sneak into the main, but luckily Jaedong is on top of it. He's going to be sending that Overlord with a couple of units over there. Easily clean that up. So easy peasy, not a big deal for Jaedong at this point in time. And he's also killed off the gateway, so fantastic position for Jaedong, honestly. He can go ahead and sit back, wait for his opponent to make mistakes. The Corsair count is kind of low for Stork, so that definitely, to me, indicates that he's going to be going for a lot heavier ground army in the next couple seconds, which again also makes sense because if you are playing on this map and you're trying to break out of a contain, it's very smart to go ahead and go for a big ground army, get lots of zealots, get lots of storms, and just go ahead and push your opponent out. I'm a little bit surprised that there have been no lurkers out on the map so far, but I'm pretty sure that's the first upgrade that Jaedong got for his Hydralisk. He's just been really holding on to that gas for as long as possible, not really zeroing in on that small advantage that he may have had. A couple of units coming now. Wow, big drops in the main, in the natural, and that's actually going to kill off quite a few drones for free. Also drops, Zealot drop in the main, so lots of stuff going on for Jaedong all at once. I really like that play from Stork, doing the smart play of dropping a couple of Zealots in the main, forcing drones to transfer, and then doing a storm drop at the natural. Very smart play. Very good tactical ideas there. And so far, he's actually left one of these High Templar on the high ground over here, which is going to be really annoying later on in the game. Another Storm comes down. It's going to kill a couple more drones, so that was pretty nicely done overall. Stork just doing a really good job of doing damage where he can with small numbers of units. He's not going to try to go crazy. But unfortunately, there's nothing that Jaedong can really do against this right now. He's just going to try to go ahead and take over that 4th base, start working on getting up his strong economy, and maybe heading into the late game tech pretty soon. Looks like he has a couple of Overlord drops coming in to maybe get a couple of Lurkers into the main. I really like this play. Really cool to see from him. But there is going to be a cannon going down in the main already, and that's really nice to see from Stork. Stork just being on top of things, but he does lose quite a few probes, so another small blunder from him is, oh wow, Jaedong's going to be able to snipe one of the Templar over here, so that's pretty nice for him. He's just going to continue to make units. I would really like to see him go ahead and start investing in that matrix of Lurkers, so they can go ahead and start set up a defense that he can kite back through. Trying to survive entirely off of Hydralisk versus a big Protoss army is almost impossible unless you are far ahead in supply. And at this point, I expect Jaedong to be about 20 supply down from his opponent, although he's done a pretty good job of containing his opponent and checking for expansions. Either way, he's still trying to get his drone count up while still defending with the least amount of units possible, but he really needs to start getting those Lurkers up, start getting the Sunkens up to defend this white area against potential attacks. If I were Stork, I would honestly continue doing these storm drops while going for a much heavier ground-based army with lots of Dragoons, which looks like that is what he's doing. He's got a ton of Dragoons, and that's going to allow him to break through this wide open area a lot easier. Dragoons are much better in open areas versus Zealots, which are much better in tight areas. And Big Push still just kind of sitting outside Jaedong's main, Jaedong's natural, and I wonder if this is just either Stork just being timid or just waiting for a particular timing. It's hard to really tell at this particular moment in time, but with those Lurkers finally getting out, this is looking pretty nice for Jaedong. The defense is looking solid. The up in the main, we see the Hive starting to come out soon, so we'll be seeing probably that Ling heavy style that Jaedong is really well known for, going up to many different types, many hatches, and just kind of overwhelming his opponent with tons of Lurker Ling. But here comes the big push, and so far the micro has been really good from Stork. He's doing a good job of sending in a couple of Zealots to just tank a couple shots while he focuses down these Lurkers. And even though he's kind of building himself into a natural concave, he's killed off so many Lurkers that it's going to be basically free season for his Zealots to run straight in and do tons of damage. So here comes a big counter push by Jaedong. Can he actually manage to push this back? Unfortunately, he's not quite in range of those Lurkers. He's finally going to be able to push that back, but great Storm going to get down on top of all of those Lurkers. That's really nicely done from him. And this is such a wide area to defend. It's really difficult. The Protoss army is much more maneuverable than the Zerg army at this point in time, when you have to continually lift up and reset the Lurkers. And without Adrenal Glands, this is a very difficult defense. The big push is actually going to come up here into the natural, and it looks like Stork has actually done quite a bit of damage to his opponent, but he is surrounded on all sides. Can he continue to push this in? With that last, with the reinforcements coming in, it looks like Stork might actually be able to push down, but Jaedong is continually trying to reinforce, trying to get in, but there's just like way too many units out here. Can Jaedong actually break this? He's trying desperately to get in here to break whatever he can. But another Storm coming down right on top of all those Lurkers. That's a little bit painful. He's going to try to snipe the Observer with these Scourge. That is a pretty big deal. If he can snipe the Observers, then he can go ahead and start relying more heavily on all of the Lurkers to actually push this down. And it looks like he may have actually held his natural. It looks like he's going to be fine for right now. What is the state of Stork's base though. Oh wow, he actually lost all of his drones in the main though to a DT during that. Stork just doing his patented, well-known style of just continual multitasking, being a god of these dropships, doing storm drops, doing DT drops, while at the same time attacking. And it's that sort of play that made Stork so good during his heyday. Really nice to see it coming out right now. I hope we can see more of that, but Jaedong has slowly stabilized, but he took a lot of damage throughout that and lost a lot of economy in his main. So even though he is not in too bad a shape, he's still going to be in a lot of danger for the next attack. He's trying to rebuild his economy. He's trying to get his carry base upgrades, but as you can see, Stork already has that third base up. He's flooding units out right now, and he's probably going to be ready to go for another attack soon. It's a shame that he lost that shuttle, because that shuttle was a big part of Stork's strategy. It's a big part of the way that Stork plays, but Stork right now is just kind of moving around the map, trying to get map control, trying to see whatever he can pick off at any given time. This is slowly going to go into Zerg's favor the longer the game goes on, but if Stork can actually keep Jaedong from ever taking a 5th base, then he's in a pretty good spot. Big wraparound coming over here with all these units, trying to get on top of these units, but a big attack coming in from Stork directly into 3rd base. Is he going to be able to get right on top of all these units? Jaedong just trying to send in a lot of units, but so far he's been... the control is a little bit sloppy from both players, honestly, but good storms rather, are going to actually be able to blanket a lot of those units and kill them off, and the reinforcing lings should be able to actually clean this up really nicely. +2/+2 lings with adrenal glands are very strong versus gateway units. They can do just about anything, and at this point, that was actually a big failure on Stork's part, in my opinion, to lose this much, but actually these Archons holding on very strongly. Archon's very, very good against Ling Hydra, so it's really nice to actually see this coming through, but this may have been an overcommitment from Stork, just going a little bit too crazy on the unit production, going a little bit too ham, not doing a very methodical approach, and as a result, he ends up losing quite a bit in that engagement, and now this is Jaedong's time to strike back. This is like the OSL finals all over again, where Jaedong completely annihilated those armies over and over and over, and finally started pushing through with tons of Ling, Lurker, Hydra. Looks like that might be the case here now. We've reached a midway point, and Jaedong's done a pretty good job of scouting out his opponent, making sure that no more bases are going down, but the macro machine is in order now. We have 6 to 8 hatcheries, continually pumping Lings, continually pumping Lurkers, and this is just going to keep getting better for Jaedong as the upgrades start to stack up. Remember, we still have drop tech coming in, so there's a possibility for Jaedong to do some sort of tricky Lurker drops or Ling drops later on in the game. Right now, he's just trying to keep an eye on things, make sure that there's nothing going down. It looks like actually he's going to be going for an island expansion. He had a drone loaded up in one of those overlords, so pretty interesting to see that play coming out from him. Meanwhile, Stork trying to go for that 4th base, but after you lose so much, maybe going for a 4th base is a bad idea. I'm not entirely sure. Anyhow, Jaedong taking that 5th base down in the bottom corner. He's going to be in pretty good shape, but a couple more Zealots in his main yet again. He's got to make sure that he has enough units to properly defend it. Oh wow, the spawning pool going down. This is actually a really big deal right now. He needs to make as many Lings as possible before the spawning pool goes down. That was a huge snipe for Stork. That's going to allow him a very strong timing right now, if he can just go ahead and start pushing in. Unfortunately, it looks like he's just going to be letting Jaedong rebuild that spawning pool without any repercussions. So maybe it was a good play, but it wasn't good enough. Didn't really surprise me, didn't really amaze me. Jaedong doing a really good job of just denying the 4th base from Stork, and that's really annoying to see as a Protoss player, because as a Protoss player you really want to go ahead and take that 4th base, but it's so hard to get up while keeping your army out in the middle of the map in position to threaten the Zerg army, to go ahead and keep the Zerg army from getting in position onto the natural or the 3rd. So I gotta understand why Stork is having this problem at this point in time, and that may just be a problem with foresight. He maybe should have taken the base down in the bottom right-hand corner as his third base instead of the top right, or the 12 o'clock position, because he is running into the problem now where he can't actually have enough units in position to deal with it. But big attack coming into the fourth base right now. Will Jaedong have enough units in time? He's doing a really good job of moving all of his units out here early on. He's gonna have to kill off one of those Hydras, unfortunately, to make sure he gets some swarms down. But with how much stuff has been coming in, this is a little bit terrifying. However, all of these Zealots are gone now for Stork, so he's gonna have to back up. He's gonna have to rely on Archons and Storms to really actually deal with this. And so far, pretty good Storms, but these Lings are getting right on top of everything, and they're actually sniping quite a few of the High Templars. A huge number of High Templar, but so many of them gone now. And I think we're going to be seeing the Lurker drop coming out from Jaedong. Good job expecting this base to go down. He's just going to go ahead and put the Lurkers down anyway. And oh, is he going to get a big hit? Not too big, but he's going to prevent mining here from a while. That's going to cause some problems. Actually, just picking up and bringing him back into his main. I really like that play. Just continually keeping his opponent on his toes. If he just left those Lurkers there, they'd be easily cleaned up. But because he's going to go ahead and relocate them and send things over there later, that's actually very good for him. Just forcing his opponent in different directions. One DT over here, it's going to be very annoying, but eventually will get cleaned up. And Jaedong has secured his fifth base while denying mining at his opponent's fourth. This is a good situation for him to be in, but still there are a lot of Storms on Stork's side, so that's the one thing I really consider to be dangerous in this particular time. When those Storms start to really go off, that's going to be a real game changer. But Jaedong needs to go ahead and get some Overlords out just kind of in the center of the map, getting a good idea of where his opponent is, where some armies might be coming in, where the angle of attack would be. Without that, he really just does run the risk of being out of position when his opponent comes in. But so far, we haven't had too many problems. He really needs to make sure that he doesn't take too much damage in this incoming attack, and needs to watch out for drop play. He needs to watch out for that drop play, which is Stork's favorite thing in the world to do. So big attack coming into the fourth base yet again. Some DTs mixed in this time, which is pretty neat to see. But not a lot of units in position for Jaedong. I'm a little bit surprised at his lack of units. Jaedong? He's got tons of units just sitting in his natural doing nothing. That was kind of a huge error, and a lot of that is just going to die for free. Stork doing a really good job of just finding the right places to push in and forcing all the units out of position. But he is out of the Zealots now, so he needs to back up, replenish those Zealots, and then he can go back in. Lots of Archons though. Dang, that is 5 Archons. They do so much splash damage, and I think all of the Zerglings in the world can't deal with this many Zealots and Archons, even under Swarms. They're just so terrifying. Holy crap. Are those hallucinated? Those have to be hallucinated. Those have to be hallucinated. There's no way there's that many Archons on the map. That's insane. And anyway, just tons of damage raining down on Jaedong's third base. He has no answer to his opponent. He just didn't have the units in position in time, and now he's slowly starting to get it back in position. But that was a big flub to just have all these units sitting around doing nothing. And Stork is actually just going to crush through, kill his third base, and I don't think Jaedong can hold this at all. But, well, he is surrounding on all sides with Lings. This is slowly getting cleaned up. Wait, are Lings god tier? Are Lings actually that good? Holy crap, Lings are good. And Jaedong somehow saves that hatchery. So Jaedong actually is in not the worst shape. He did trade inefficiently there for a lot of that, but it's going to allow him to go ahead and start the counteroffensive, start getting into his opponent's bases before the remax is done. And because the Lings are so cost efficient at this point in the game, he can kind of split them up into different sections of the map and just attack where his opponent is not. And he's pretty good for doing that. That'll be pretty solid for him. He doesn't see any expansions on this side of the map, so he's okay with that. He's not going to go for any kind of crazy shenaniganry, but lots of damage coming down into his main. Another drop yet again, and despite having these, despite having all the Scourge in position, he just is not stopping these drops over and over again. The drops get in for absolutely free, and it's very confusing to me that he's not on top of that. And whatever the case, he's going to have to rebuild some of his tech. He's going to have to resaturate that third base. He's not in too bad a position because he still had that fifth base up and mining, but he lost a lot in that last fight, and without a proper defense, he's going to find himself in trouble for the next offensive from Stork. Stork is probably building up a lot of energy on his Templar. He's going to be moving out very, very soon. So this is all up to Jaedong to just make sure that he has a lot of units, make sure that he is playing well at this point in time. I love that he's going to go ahead and reinforce the Nidus over here at the fifth base, make sure that he can move between bases very quickly, and replenishing all of those lurkers that he had lost a little bit earlier. He sees where his opponent's army is that's coming down towards this fifth base, but you want to make sure that he's not getting too out of position in either the top or the bot side of the map. Stork actually looks like he repositioned. He's going to be pushing into this fourth, but this is in between a lot of units, and with Pure Zealot Archon versus this many lurkers, he's going to find himself in a bit of trouble. These so far this has been very good for Stork, but he's eventually going to get cleaned up. Now getting surrounded on all sides, tons of lings flooding in from every direction, and eventually all of those zealots are going to evaporate just due to the pressure of these lurkers. Finally, this is all going to get cleaned up. The lings will come in and clean up the rest of this, and I think that might actually just be it for Stork. Stork has kind of shown his hand, gone a little bit too heavy into... Wow, that was a good storm, though. Gone a little bit too heavy into the aggression, and as a result, he's thrown away a lot of his advantages. He's still only sitting at 4 bases, and although Jaedong is still relatively weak in his economy, he just keeps cleaning up these attacks cost efficiently. As long as Jaedong can go ahead and start expanding to a 5th base as well, he's going to be alright. As long as Jaedong handles any future attacks as well as he did there, he's going to be just fine. I think Stork getting a little bit impatient, thinking that he had the lead, thinking that he had a much stronger lead than he actually had, and it's going to end up costing him because Jaedong is back to full saturation mining on 3 bases. He's going to be going ahead and probably taking a 6th base pretty soon. But good storm drops coming in, killing off a few of those workers over there. Overall, I'm pretty impressed by the way that Stork has been playing this game, but where was that drop when the attack was coming into the 3rd base? Where was that drop when the attack was coming into the 4th base? Why are these storm drops coming down when nothing is happening? That's really what I want to know, because you want them to be coming down at a better time. Looking for a good plague, and there's the good plague. That's going to be the money plague on top of all those zealots. Make them much easier to clean up with the zealots later on. Eventually, this pressure is going to be cleaned up, so good news for Jaedong. He's in pretty good shape, but actually, the Templar survived there for a second. That was a little bit terrifying, but Jaedong has all the tools that he needs to actually defend against any sort of pressure that might be coming soon. He's got tons of gas as well, so the future of making tons of lings, tons of lurkers, tons of defilers is not very difficult for him at all. And here comes another big attack. It's just pure zealots at this point. It looks like Stork has finally given up. He's just going to be going pure zealot Templar at this point in the game, and we're up against Hive Tech. That's really not a good strategy at all. That's not a good composition. You need something meatier. You need those Dragoons. You need the Archons in your composition, maybe even a couple of Reavers, but focusing entirely on Zealot Templar, not so good. It is going to give him a little bit more versatility and maneuverability around the map. He doesn't really have to go all in on any of these attacks. He just has to force Jaedong to do other things while he goes ahead and takes this base down in the bottom left-hand corner. Funnily enough, he actually can just hang out with this Overlord over this army, and there's nothing that they can do about it. He's going to be dropping a couple plagues just to weaken out all of these zealots, make them a little bit weaker, not as strong versus incoming attacks. So really fun stuff. Ends up getting a pretty nice play on top of that entire army. It was really well done by Jaedong. So that is going to be a much weaker zealot army in the coming future, and Jaedong just stringing across the map in all directions. He's going to be going down to the bot side, trying to clean up as much as he can with these units, while also trying to get a flank over on the top side as well. So this is very nicely done by him so far. Stork may think he's out of the woods yet, but another gigantic force coming into the top side of the map and slowly hemming in this Protoss army. The lurkers are going to be key as long as Jaedong gets them in the proper positions. He needs to make sure he continues to burrow them. And there is Stork's army just completely evaporating under the pressure of Zerg. And there's the GG. Jaedong taking the win. Well played.